All right. Hello, part two of schizo rambling and with deconstruction of why short form content is not actually the problem, but it's also still bad. And it's reflective of why a society is failing. I was on the topic of addiction in women. So the most common form of addiction cycle that happen in women who are abusing alcohol and get have their alcohol consumption stop, they go out and seek comfort in food. They start eating shitloads of food as a coping mechanism. And I think this is what's going to happen when you stop or like get banned Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube shorts. You're going to get rid of these things. And what's going to end up happening is that people are now going to look for other forms of addiction. And you still have a society which is continuously on a downtrend. You never fix the problem that was giving. Actually, I'll get to the fixes later. I'll just talk about the problems now. Because of the fact that people have been sitting in front of their computer screens trying to please hedonistic gods. Oh, please, a little bit more dopamine of this one funny video that I'm going to watch. In doing so, they're again not working in their best interest, and they blame those companies which are actually doing what they're supposed to be doing. And all of this is because man is mentally ill. The average modern person is mentally ill. And people, for some reason, fucking fail to realize this, even though it's painfully obvious. And if you derive happiness from sitting in front of a screen, you are severely mentally ill, or some part of your brain has been functionally shot. Anyways, going back to my next topic, where was the line I was reading? Right. The man or woman, he's not maximizing his or her own profits. And in this instance, the profits I'm talking about from the man's perspective is emotional fulfillment or whatever else it may be. You can just create your you have to create your own meaning in that. And since they're not fulfilling their own selfish interest, they're failing as a capitalistic entity. And no, a man does not have to run a rat race in a capitalist led society to be happy either. Because happiness is not derived from money and is individually led, but it sure as hell isn't sitting in front of a computer screen, unless you're severely mentally disabled. Now, let's talk about it if it's in a scenario where man actually were to be selfish and acting with his best interest in mind. So companies like TikTok Shorts and Reels would not flourish, as it would not be in their best interest to cater to this audience, as there would be no audience. There would be no such audience because people would realize that holy fuck, this is a waste of my time. I should not be doing this. Is this video music not too loud? It's kind of distracting. Actually, I do not enjoy this. Thank you. Can this one fucking video stop being so loud? God damn. Anyways, as I was saying, all I was completely lost my thought because of this stupid fucking background music video. Again, the companies are working in their best interest and catering the content as there would be no audience if man were to act in his self-interest. So the logical conclusion here being that companies are simply doing what is requested by man, nothing else, and we should not be trying to tear down shorts or ban TikTok or Instagram reels, nor should we try to tear down the companies behind them, as that isn't the problem. All of that is, I'm just reading this fucking script. I just said this bullshit. Did I not? Yeah. We're just gonna skip to the remedy section because turns out having a script is actually way more devastating for me than actually not having a script. Maybe the script isn't good enough. I think I'll blame the script not being good enough. Because this wasn't designed to be a script, right? Anyways, doesn't matter. So we're talking about the remedy of the modern man. So the thing is, the remedy of the modern man does not lie in band-aid fixes, as I mentioned earlier, but rather a systemic change within society as a whole, which is, I understand, an extremely idealistic and naive of an idea for the average individual because he or she cannot comprehend the idea of change. most normies cannot comprehend a cultural change at a large scale, and they just call it unreasonable. To them, I will say just like go and refer to the Renaissance period, the Greek Enlightenment, and the boom of science in 18 and 1900s, right? So the idea that a cultural revolution or like a cultural change is impossible is bullshit. So now, the idea, which I think will work best for, let me check the time, how much time is it? Oh yeah, 5 minutes after we have time. Fuck yeah. We can sketch a ramble at the end of this as well. All right, so now the question arises like, okay, society needs a change. What kind of change does it need, which would be better? So again, the idea I think that works best for society is a gradual shift towards encouragement of creation of values on an individual level rather than it being instilled into each person through indoctrination. Indoctrination through religion, through again societal norms, blah blah blah, right? I'm not saying we should get rid of societal norms or we should get rid of religious entities. I think you can have them as well, but I think we should encourage the individual to create their own morals and values. Continuing on, again, the push for each man and woman to have their own set of values that they believe in, instead of you must go to X college and get an X degree and work at X job and have family by X age. You as an individual should create these values, and you as an individual should seek out morals and ethics of your own based on your experiences and something you believe in, not because you've been told this is the right thing to do, but because you see it as the correct and just thing to do. Again, when I'm saying create your own morals and values and ethics, I'm not saying you can do whatever the fuck you want. You can and you should be allowed to, as long as it does not violate anybody's property rights or any person's autonomous rights. As long as that isn't being infringed, you should be allowed to do whatever the fuck you want. And I understand all of this is like perfectly coinciding with Nietzsche's ideas for basically the modern man, which is what I'm regurgitating. If you want more in-depth analysis of this, please go read Thusberg Zarathustra. Zarathustra. Okay, I butchered that pronunciation. I don't know German anyway. Who gives a shit? All right, but the thing is, something I just remembered to mention again. I don't think the creation of morals and ethics and value systems on an individual level is the end point and the first and last step of remedying the modern society problem as we move away from a more tribal society towards a more individualistic one. I believe there is going to be a need to reunite and fall back into groups, not the tribal one this time, but each person working individually for a higher cause that the group of people agree with, unlike how they currently do with country systems and nations where people just hate each other and don't actually align with any cause. Think of it as like a book club, but much better, much cooler. Sounds way lamer, but trust me, it's a good idea. And the higher cause usually would be like, a society, a better society, and a society with less misery, less suffering, and more realization of one's conscious self. A society where a person realizes not just who they are, but why they are. When a man realizes why he exists, and I think current society severely lacks in doing this because you are basically born into a rat race and you're forced to run that rat race. Now, people are going to be, oh, it's capitalism's fault. No, it's a cultural fault. It's a culture that is failing. It's not capitalism. Because guess what? Without capitalism, you would not be in a situation where you would be able to try and pick a path where you can think about these things. Capitalism, maximizing the creation of wealth, in turn, what it does, it gives people individualism and gives them the ability to think and create beyond the regular means. Because that's something that wouldn't be possible in fucking communism. I will tackle socialism in another day because I think the whole ideology is just built on socialism is when good things happen. And it's very anti towards the ideology I just explained because you're kind of forced to do things in socialism in a certain way. Because if you're born into a socialist system, most of us are born into socialist systems, we are forced to do certain things. Like, if I don't want to pay taxes, and if that means I don't want to enjoy any of the benefits that come through taxes, I can't do that. I can't just be like, okay, I'm not going to spend my money on taxes. I'm not going to use your roads. I'm not going to use whatever bullshit is that you're doing. I can't do that. And you're going to think, oh, that's fucking ridiculous. Who would do that? There is hundreds and millions of people who are living in houses and in houses which are completely off grid and do not rely on a government system for their day to day life. They don't need roads because they pave their own fucking roads. They have renewable energy sources, solar, wind, whatever, for their own electricity creation. They have their own fucking plot of land and houses. But I can't do that in a socialist system. No, no, no. I am forced to pay taxes. I'm forced to pay for a black guy's third fucking child or a Muslim's third, fifth child named Ahmad and Mohammed. Fucking socialist system. Why am I rambling about this? Regardless, I just wanted to end the video off and talk about this topic in particular because it's been on my mind. Now, if you want a more concise form of what I've just said, although a bit more hard to understand, I think, please refer to the community notes that I'll have linked in the description. Thank you very much.